Kevin Elson, and here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from the Vatican. While most dioceses around the world celebrated the feast of Corpus Christi this past Sunday, Pope Francis began his day presiding at a mass in the chapel of his residence with the families of 24 Italian military personnel killed during peacekeeping missions and with 13 other members of the military injured during those missions, mostly in Afghanistan. During his homily at the mass, attended also by the head of Italy's military ordinariate and by Catholic military chaplains, Pope Francis called war the suicide of humanity because it kills the heart. It kills precisely that which is the message of the Lord. It kills love. Later on Sunday at noon, the Pope recited the Angelus over St. Peter's Square. In his remarks, Pope Francis appealed again for peace in Syria. He said, "All is lost with war. All is to be gained with peace." The Pope's day ended with the Vatican's first attempt at a worldwide hour of Eucharistic adoration. Rome Reports has more on this special hour of prayer.
In Rome, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the Eucharistic adoration began in St. Peter's Basilica, and simultaneously the world followed. Given the fact that many countries celebrated the feast day of Corpus Christi on Sunday, the Vatican organized a global simultaneous Eucharistic adoration to mark the Year of Faith. Pope Francis prayed before the Blessed Sacrament, and thousands of pilgrims came along as well to pray before the Eucharist for about an hour. And throughout the world, in parishes and cathedrals, millions of Catholics joined in at that very moment. The ceremony in Rome was solemn and simple. It included liturgical hymns, prayers, and readings from the Bible, but above all else, it included still periods of silent prayer. In the Americas, the prayer was in the morning. Then in the Atlantic, Europe, and Africa, in the afternoon. In Asia, it was nighttime, while in the Pacific, the prayer was in the overnight hours. The Pope didn't give a speech before or after the ceremony. Instead, he simply prayed. But a few days before, he did say his prayer intention would be for a more beautiful church without spots, wrinkles, or blemishes. He also prayed for those in need, including victims of war and trafficking, and those who suffer from unemployment or exploitation at work.
Looking now at more news from the Vatican, Pope Francis joined a pilgrimage of 3,000 people from Blessed John XXIII's home diocese, Bergamo, Italy, to pray at the late Pope's tomb June 3rd, the 50th anniversary of his death. Bishop Francesco Bisci of Bergamo told Pope Francis that he reminds many people of Blessed John, especially with his gestures and his evangelical liberty. Pope Francis recalled the last days of Pope John's life in 1963 and how St. Peter's Square became an open-air shrine where the faithful prayed for the Pope's health. He also said that many still refer to Blessed John as the Good Pope. Pope Francis said that from reading Blessed John's Journal of a Soul, it is clear that his peacefulness was the result of a spiritual journey marked by discipline and obedience. He told the Bergamo pilgrims that Pope John's decision to convoke the Second Vatican Council was the result of a prophetic intuition based on his love for the tradition of the Church and his awareness of its needs for constant updating. The Pope told the pilgrims that they were right to be proud of their native son and to preserve his spirit, deepen their study of his life and writings, but especially imitate his holiness. One other note from the Vatican, Pope Francis hosted some very special guests recently at the Vatican. Rome Reports has the details on this very moving meeting.
Pope Francis was visited by a group of young cancer patients who are being treated at Rome's Agostino Gemelli Hospital. They all prayed together, and a young girl read the Pope a very moving letter.
È bello poterti vedere davvero e non come alla televisione. A Lourdes abbiamo pregato per te, ti abbiamo disegnato la grotta come nostro dono. Ti promettiamo che pregheremo ancora e ti chiediamo di pregare per tutti i bambini malati del Gemelli e del mondo. Benedici tutte le mamme e i papà perché possano avere sempre un sorriso bello come il tuo.
Pope Francis blessed the audience, which also included the hospital's medical staff and several volunteers. Then the Pope made a special request specifically to the children.
In questo momento Gesù viene da voi e vi abbraccia. Va bene. E vi chiedo un'ultima cosa. Pregate per me. Lo farei? Sicuro?
At the end of the meeting, the Pope took the time to individually greet the 22 children and their families.
Finally in the news, the Hamas government in Gaza has released an order forbidding coeducational institutions. If this order is enforced, 5 schools in Gaza, 2 Catholic and 3 Christians, will close. Father Faisal Hajazin, the Director General of Latin Patriotic Schools in Palestine and Israel, said they do not have the space or money to defy the schools. They will also not have the funds to hire more teachers. Under Islamic law, men and women teachers would not be allowed to teach classes of the opposite sex beyond the 4th grade. Father Hajazin said Latin Patriarch Fuad Tual of Jerusalem hoped to speak with Gaza's Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh to discuss the church's concerns. The Patriotic administers the Latin Patriotic School with 370 students and the Holy Family School with 650 students. And the Rosary Sisters also operate a school on their own. Although the order by the government did not single out Christian schools, they are the only schools with mixed enrollment in Gaza. Well, that is all the information we have for you this time. I'm Kevin Nelson. Don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV Network.